Mr. Bill drives 120 miles in total on Monday and Tuesday. On Tuesday, he drives half the distance he travels on Monday. How far does he travel on Monday? So since Mr. Bills is traveling on 2 different days, we can write a label for Monday and we can write a label for Tuesday. And since it says on Tuesday he travels half the distance he travels on Monday, that means Monday's bar is going to be the one that's bigger. And it's half the distance, so that means we have to divide the Monday into half, so maybe about here. And then that means that Tuesday is the same size as what half of Monday is. And then it also tells us that there's 120 miles in total for both days. Now, we want to know how far he travels on Monday, so we need to know how big this one is. So notice what we've done here is Tuesday was supposed to be half of Monday, which means that all of these little sections are going to be equal to each other. So now we can use a variable to represent what it is. Now, we talked about wanting to know what does the variable represent. So what does M represent? Just one of the M's. So M represents, if we look, just one of these M's represents Tuesday. So specifically, what does it represent for Tuesday? M represents the distance Mr. Bills travels on Tuesday. So now we can go ahead and try to solve this question. We have 3 of these little parts is equal to 120, so that means I need to do 120 divided by 3. So 3 goes into 12 4 times, 12, 0, bring down, 0, and that's 0. And we have no remainder, which means that all of these M's is equal to 40. So this is equal to 40, this is equal to 40, and this is equal to 40. So on Monday, we have 2 M's, an M plus an M, for how far he traveled. So what we can do, since we've learned about this now, is we can use substitution. Instead of M, we could say that it's 40 plus 40, which gives us 80. So our final sentence then is, on Monday, Mr. Bills travels 80 miles. So Jose has 4 times as much money as Miranda. Costanza has $45 more than Jose. They have $225 in total. How much money does Costanza have? So we have 3 different people here, so we can label 3 names. We got Jose, we have Miranda, and we have Costanza. So it says here that Jose has 4 times as much as Miranda. So that tells us that Miranda's little rectangle could be, or bar could be 1 piece, and Jose's is going to be 4 of those same pieces. So here we have 4 of those same pieces. And then it also says that Costanza has $45 more than Jose. So then that means all from here to here is what Jose has, plus some extra, which is the 45. So we can label that this is 45. And since we know what Jose's is, and we know that Costanza has what Jose has plus 45, we know that we can do these little dashed lines so that Costanza's looks like Jose's. Then it tells us that they have $225 in total, so all of this is $225. And then it says how much money does Costanza have. So now we see that all of these little pieces, they're all equal. So we can give it a variable. So we can say x, 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 x. And we want to know how much Costanza has. So let's highlight that this is what we're looking for. Now, let's talk about what the variable x is representing. X represents, and if we look in our model, what does just one x represent? Here is just the one x. And this one x is representing Miranda. So just one of these x's represents the amount of money that Miranda has. So now let's try to figure out what Costanza has. So if we have 225, we can take away 45, because that would go away. And then we would subtract. So 0, we have to borrow, that becomes 1. 12 take away 4 gives us 8. and then we get 180. So now we have 180 for all of those x's. So how many x's do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that means I need to take 180 divided by 9. 9 goes into 18 twice. 18, 0, bring down, also a 0, no remainder. So that means x is equal to 20. So we need to figure out what Costanza has. So now Costanza has 4 times these x's plus 45. So we can actually write an algebraic expression of this. 4 times x, which is 4x, plus the 45. Then we could do substitution. 4, and then we have 20 instead, plus 45. And that gives us 80 plus 45, which gives us $125, which tells us that Costanza has $125. Alfredo has some money. He spends 4/7 of the money on a game. He shares the rest of the money equally between 6 friends. Each friend receives $4. How much did the game cost? So now in this question, we see a big hint, 4/7, and that tells us how many pieces we should have our bar or a rectangle. We should have it out of 7. So let's draw a bar with 7 pieces. So this will be 1 piece, and then we'll need to draw 7 more. All right, so here are 7 pieces, and now it says 4/7 of the money is on a game. So that means 4 of these pieces represents our game. And then the next part of the question says he shares the rest of the money equally between 6 friends. So I have 3 pieces left, but I could make this 6 pieces left if I split all of these in half. So this is now going to be 6 pieces, and each friend receives 4. So this is 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. And that means just one of these pieces is 8. And we want to know how much the game costs. So we know that all of this is now going to be 8. Another 8, and another 8, which is going to give us 8 times 3, which is 24. Then we don't know all of those other pieces here, so we could give it a variable that it's x if we wanted to. But notice that if this little piece, this one rectangle, or sorry, this square now is 8, that means all of these pieces is 8. So now to figure out how much the game costs, I would have 8 times 4, which gives me $32, which means that the game cost $32. And now if you wanted to talk about what does x represent, x represents, well, notice that this is the game and there's 4 x's, but just one of the x's is going to be a quarter of the game. So x represents 1/4 of the cost of the game. Isabella got $105 for her birthday. She spent $15 at the movies. She put 1/3 of the remaining money in her piggy bank. And how much money does she have left? So we can do one whole entire rectangle to represent all of the money that Isabella has. So there's my whole entire model. It says that she got $105 for her birthday. So here's 105. Then it also says that she spent $15 at the movies. So this is some money here that we can say 15 was at the movies. Then it says she put 1/3 of the remaining money in a piggy bank. So that means the rest of this money has to be divided up into thirds, which is 3 pieces. So it's not going to be accurate, so I can just go like this to represent that it's in 3 pieces. And since my picture is not accurate, we have learned that we can use variables. So I am going to use x, x, and x to just represent that all of those pieces are supposed to be the same size. So it says that she puts 1/3 of it into her piggy bank. So this is going to be in the piggy bank. Piggy bank. And then the rest here then is going to be, let's use a different color for that though. all of this is going to be the money left. So what do we have here? We have X to showcase that's something we don't know, and we can write down what X represents. X represents, if we look at our model, X is representing right here, just one of the X's is representing the amount of money in her piggy bank. And then the question's asking how much money she has left. So then having left here is 2 of these X's. So how are we going to figure that out? Well, we can do 105, take away 15. So that's going to give us 0. 10, take away 1, so that means 90. So that means all of those X's are 90. So I would want to do 3. So 90 divided by 3, which would give me 3 here, 0, 0, and 0. So that means that 30 is equal to one of these X's. And if I want to know how much money she has left, well, she has an X plus an X left. Or in other words, if we have an X plus an X, you guys now know that that's the same thing as saying 2X. And we can continue using what we've learned about substitution and say 2, and instead of X, we can say 30. Because really it's like saying when X is 30. And now we have 2 times 30, which is going to give us 60. So Isabella has $60 left.